There is few things in the world that can have me jumping around like a little schoolgirl, and ReZero is just one of those things. This episode was exactly what I said this episode was gonna be when I started off my last reaction of ReZero. I said the next episode would have me on my knees begging for mercy, and it did, oh my God, it did! He said it was gonna be the saddest thing in the universe, and man, everything about this was sad. From the family gathering, from the sword, let's start from square one. Husband and wife sparring, and not sparring just to have a little fun, sparring to the death. Wilhelm versus Theresia for the final time ever. And for probably not even the first time. I was gonna say the first time. It's not the first time they've done this. The first time was for her to put her sword down. This time is to end her forever so her ghost may never walk this earth again. And if he could have saved her, I know he would have done everything in his possible way to do it. Because when he got beaten, he got a sword through his leg, and his son was gonna get cut down, and he had to use all of his might just to get to her, and he couldn't. Her grandson stepped in. Reinhardt, Van Anstrea, the walking OP one-punch man of ReZero, walked in and saved the day. But it just isn't about him saving the day. It's the fact that Wilhelm was still crawling, still trying to make sure Reinhardt didn't get to her. Like, he wanted to make sure that they didn't fight each other. And at the end of it, he said, please don't kill her. Don't kill my Theresia. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, everything in this show just makes me sad. It's just then that we get the backstory of Theresia, and the backstory makes it so much worse. Brothers all around her, she beat them all to become the Sword Saint. And then she fled the battle like anybody else would, I would assume, but at the cost of all of her brother and her uncle who passed the Sword Saint title down to her. They all died at the expense of her cowardice. So now she has to live with that for the rest of her life and pick up that sword just to keep on pushing. The only reason that she picked that sword up to begin with was because her uncle told her to. Now she has to pick that sword up because of her cowardice. Everybody on the battlefield died. It makes it even worse because now there's more weight and value to Wilhelm and her marriage because he's like, put down the sword because you have me. You need to be the reason that I picked this bitch up to begin with. Just for her to be the thing that he has to cut down in the end. Just for her to be the sole reason for the battle to begin, like to keep on going. Now he has to cut her down, but he can't even cut down his wife that he loves so dearly because she wounded him because of her son stepping in the mix, her ungrateful ass son, I might add, stepping in the mix, almost dying, throwing off Wilhelm off his game, and now Reinhardt has to cut down his own grandmother, and he's been accused of that for 15 years, and that didn't even happen. She got mixed by the white whale, and we even get to see her get mixed by the white whale, and then on top of that, we get to see Pandora again. We haven't seen this bitch since season 2. Like, we haven't seen Pandora since season 2. And here she is mixing the best sword user of that time at that point. I don't know if Reinhardt was running around then, but if he was, he took the curse, I want to say, because it looks more like a curse than a blessing to not be able to pull that sword out. Because she thought she still had it on her, and she tried to unsheath the sword, and the sword was like, nah. Nah, you ain't pulling me out. Like, oh my gosh, there's just so many nuances with this show that just make it just even more of a masterpiece than you watch a new episode of ReZero and you just see more and more and more stacked on top of more and more and more. And it's just like, ah, my gosh, this scene right here was probably more sadder than I can even relay back to you. You know the scene where Spider-Man is dying and he's like, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Turn that up to 11. You know the scene in Clannad. I can't say the scene, but turn it up to 11. Like, oh my. You know the scene in Marineford? You know the one I'm talking about with a certain fire guy. Turn that up to 11. Like this show, bro. Everybody here loves this woman dearly, whether they feel some resentment, whether they know that they're connected by blood, and whether or not they're their wife. Everybody here loves this woman, and to watch her literally turn into space dust right in front of their face, is the most saddest thing, especially after we were forced. Every single one of them didn't want to hurt her, but every single one of them drew their sword. And the fact that I skipped over this part, he didn't pull out his sword for Regulus. He didn't pull out his sword for Elsa. But you know who he did pull out his sword for? His goddamn grandmother. And when he did, he looked at his granddad on the floor, breathing heavy with wounds on his shoulder, on his stomach, on his side, on his knees. He looked at his dad cowering behind him after he just got disarmed by her. And he pulled out that dragon sword that he never deems anybody worthy of, or the sword never deems anybody worthy of. And he's like, if I don't, who will? Shadow Clone Jutsu slash. Oh, man. I don't know what they have in plan for this next episode of ReZero. And I thought nothing could top the Garfield, like, showcase last episode. But man, I'm so happy to be wrong, bro. Do I even have to say it? ReZero. I don't know. I don't know. I truly don't know. It's so many things. Like Shrek said, ogres have layers. If ogres have layers, ReZero has a bunch of them. Like, because ReZero has to be the biggest ogre around the town, bro. This show and their little small things that they have for the people that keep up with this show, like Pandora. I did not expect a Pandora appearance at all. I did not expect that. I did not expect a dragon sword unsheathing at all. You know, I thought Wilhelm was gonna solo this fight just like Garfield did in the last episode and faint on some you know, shonen anime bull crap. But this was way higher than what I would have ever expected. Literally in my last video about ReZero, I said this is gonna be the most saddest episode of ReZero of all time. And man, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe the first season, the Rem and Subaru scene had more sadness to it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can say I'm wrong. But to me, man, I feel like I was right. Like, to watch a man who is so deeply in love that he doesn't want to kill his wife, bro. Who would want to kill their wife? Their your wife. But he has to. And when he failed, he still was begging them, like, let it be me. No, don't kill my Theresia. Like, heartstrings, tug them heartstrings. Like, oh, and then when he finally, when the dust is settled and everything else is all under control, is all under wraps, it's like, it's still sad. He has to watch her turn into dust, literally gets Thanos snapped right in front of his face. And then it's like at the end of it all, Hankel is being a dickhead, bro. Hankel is being an absolute douchebag to Reinhardt and to his pops. I'm gonna forget his name, Wilhelm. And it's like Wilhelm is like telling him to stop as he was wrapping up his wife's ashes in a coat that she wore, so obviously he can put it in an urn or something. I don't even know, but it's just still sad. It's just still going. As the episode ends, the ending screen pops on, and at the end of the episode, we still getting our heartstrings pulled out of our chest. I don't know, bro. Like, it's so much that happened in this episode that only a ReZero fan could understand it. And obviously, if you got into this point of the video, you're a ReZero fan, and do you understand it, bro? How do you feel about this episode of ReZero? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, that like button, and that little bell. Just show me some extra love. And other than that, what else could I say? What else could I possibly say about this? I don't know what else to say. Tell me what else I probably missed in the comments, bro, because I feel like there's nothing else I can do. It's just crazy. This is just crazy. I don't know, bro. I love you guys. Thank you guys for blessing me with your presence. I love ReZero. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, other than that, I have nothing else to say other than peace. Holy, bro. Holy.